Well, it looks like the summer season's done and this video is incredibly late. Sorry for the delay, but I've had homework, Breaking Bad, homework, projects, homework, The Coldest Girl in Cold Town, homework, laziness, homework, spending time with friends, homework, exhaustion, homework, Parasite, homework, Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works adaptation, homework, and finally, did I mention that I had homework? I guess better late than never is probably the best way to describe this video, as the fall season has already started. I've been procrastinating long enough, so let's begin. Keep in mind that SAO2 and Tokyo Ghoul will not be included because I've already reviewed them, and I feel like it would be pointless to include anime that I've already voiced my thoughts on in great detail. Links will be in the description if you want to check those out. So, without further ado, let's start. Terror in Resonance, or Zankyo no Terror if you can't stand the English title, is an oddity. Going into this anime, I thought I would love the show to pieces and it would end up being a favorite of mine. And for a little while, I did love it. If you follow me on Hummingbird, I originally thought that Terror in Resonance was a phenomenal show that deserved very high praise. Then the more I thought about it, the more and more emotionally detached I began to feel from its story, characters, and themes. Everything about the show just seemed so emotionless, lifeless, and almost robotic. Sure, there were a few great emotional moments within the show, but they were few and far between. Everything else just felt calculated into the story, and it was never truly engaging. Not to mention the introduction of a terrible villain and some pretty far-fetched motivations for our main characters. The animation and music, though, were both outstanding. But it's the only true merit. Everything else was just cold. One could argue that that was the point, and I would agree with you, but the show made attempts to get you to relate with the main characters, incorporating a romance and trying to make a 9 and 12 sympathetic through the most nonsensical way you could think of for two terrorists. Call me heartless, unable to see its true messages, or an idiot, but in the end, Terror in Resonance is just another example of a pretty package without much substance beneath it. It's still an enjoyable watch though. But despite the fact that it was enjoyable, it could have been so much more. After that horrendous abomination known as Black Butler 2, oh, and on a side note, thanks YouTube, I didn't know that I could get a copyright strike based off of pictures. I was more than a little concerned about this new season, so much so that I made a video about it. The ending of the first season was great and the show was over. How was a third season going to fit into the picture, I thought? Then I did some research and apparently the first season deviated from the manga around episode 15 with an anime original ending. So because Black Butler made a lot of money, Studio A1 Pictures finally decided to go back to adapting the original source material. And I've gotta say, this season was great. The circus setting was fresh and interesting, the new characters were likable, and the show recaptured the same atmosphere and setting that I loved from the first season. If you like Black Butler, you won't be disappointed. If you haven't seen this, watch some of the first season before viewing this. In my opinion, it's worth it. What? This is a romantic comedy anime that makes fun of its stereotypes in a clever and unique way? Where have I seen that before? Oh hey, Oran! What's up? I finally found an anime that noticed how genius you are! Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun is a romance anime that makes fun of every trope in the book, but at the same time manages to work as a genuine romance anime along the lines of Shaun of the Dead, even though Nozaki-kun isn't about zombies at all. It's just another satire of a zombie genre that still manages to work as a zombie movie. Anyway, back to Nozaki-kun. My favorite part of this anime and what made it so funny for me is how the gender roles of the characters are switched. For example, if you got the logical and relatable protagonist, the kudere, the tsundere, the lady killer, who's technically female, but whatever, the insecure otaku, the insane one who's good at everything, and the normal, kind-hearted one who can get stressed out pretty easily. Granted, there's a lot more to these characters than what I'm saying here. What makes them entertaining is how their roles in the story normally go to the opposite gender, yet their personalities don't feel forced for the sake of comedy. The show is very aware of this twist, shown in the story of the shoujo manga that Nozaki writes. I'm not going to spoil how, but it's one of the cleverest writing choices that I've ever seen. If you haven't seen this show yet, you're missing out. Barakamon is undoubtedly the anime of the summer, and quite possibly the anime of the year if the fall season doesn't keep up its wonderful awesomeness, but more on that in my fall impressions video. Barakamon is my favorite slice of life anime. Not out of the summer, not out of the year, just period. The show knows how to put a smile on your face or put tears in your eyes. The characters all have likable personalities and I loved all of them, especially Honda. Honda is probably the best character to come out of airing anime in recent memory, and his development throughout the show is just fantastic. Naru is also like the single most adorable child on this planet. Just look at that smile, how could you resist that? Barakamon is a treat. The perfect example of an anime that only comes once in a while and something that should not be missed under any circumstances. Overall, this was a pretty good season of anime. It wasn't masterful except for Barakamon, but it did give us a few noteworthy shows. At least in my opinion. What was your opinion of the summer 2014 anime season? Leave it in the comments and I'll see you guys next time.